pale moonlight.
Please do not have Jacob dancing naked in the pale moonlight.
I was more worried about you, sir.
I was gonna say
Oh,
what.
I'm not gonna dance naked in the pale moonlight ever. Believe me, no one wants to see. No one wants to see my fat butt running around.
I was gonna say that was an attack on me. I want that to be enormously clear.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad you caught that.
Games, they're fine.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that. Thanks. So, welcome to Beer Protocol.
Yay!
I have no clue when we started recording.
Games
it-
naked, gross.
It was right after rubbing two soul sticks together to start a soul fire.
Perfect.
So I'm wow. I guess something got really loud. Okay then. I'm James, and I am drinking rum and coke. Appleton Estates rum and coke.
This is. Go ahead.
I'm drinking Chivas Regal over ice like a man,
Nice.
and it's quite delicious.
This is Jacob, and this week I am drinking a simple glass of red wine.
Nice.
To go along with your Sunday traditions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, so today we're talking about something strange.
We are talking about one of our absolute favorite models from what was the announcements. Sorry, I'm talking about one of my absolute favorites from the announcements at Gen Con. We have not yet done the review. However, it is certainly one of the prettiest things that they have released in the game, bar none, I feel like. Look at this beautiful, beautiful creation. I mean, it's stunning.
That's
Wait.
not.
It's not on the screen whatsoever.
That's not it.
Wait, is that not Benedict Cumberbatch?
It's close.
Oh, never mind. Perhaps we're talking about yes, this one.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's the one.
With
That's
the clock thing around him.
He's so pretty.
The only thing I don't like about that model, like other than it's got the Chinese coin thing, like on the upper. Well, it's upper right. So that's the only thing I don't like about it.
Okay. You know what I like about it?
Everything.
All of the people who like to talk about how good they are at non-metallic metals are going to have a field day, and they could work on this and leave me alone while I use my metallic metals.
Oh, I'm going to totally just do this as like arcane colors, like maybe dark reds and blues, and yeah.
Like the gold's not a bad choice at all for the studio paint job, like because you can see like the color variations in it as it goes. Like it's beautifully done.
I really wish they had done more like towards the reds, like a yellow to a red, like a little more that way. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to see.
We're not here to talk about paint jobs, Jake. We're here to talk about stats. Angrily.
We have any authority to talk numbers? I'm an accountant. I make them up as I go along.
Which is why you're a perfect addition to this discussion.
Congratulations also, like, dividing your sleeves in half.
I divided them in half? I thought I got rid of them completely.
I was going to say, I think he divided his sleeves by 0.
You can't divide by 0.
I have a half sleeve tattoo. Does that count for anything?
Yes.
All
so, Doctor Strange.
I'm leaving that picture of our boy up.
That's fine.
Because it's a good picture.
I like the sanctum. I like the sanctum sectorum behind you.
I bring effort. I don't bring results. I just bring effort.
My green screen will be showing up soon because we kind of need it. So anyway, we got Doctor Strange, also known as Stephen Vincent Strange, Dr. Stephen Vincent Strange. He is a 5-cost model. So that means he's going to be a little bit of a controlling the battlefield.
James, I sincerely love your effort to appear dignified with your fingers steepled, but you have done so in a way that completely blocks your face.
Not anyway, Jake. What's the difference?
That's not true, Jake, because that's the camera that I'm using to record everything off of because I can't record the Skype and this at the same time. It messes up.
Wait, so I've been staring up your nostrils for no good reason for the last 2 months of us doing this.
How's that, Jake?
Oh, it's even worse.
The nightmare.
So
steeple away, good man.
So we'll just start doing Doctor Strange type hand things.
I mean, look at the R on the card. He's clearly just doing devil horns. You don't have to overcomplicate it.
It
Well,
seems
no, he's saying I love you technically.
no. He's
Double horns is without a thumb.
he's trying to
Oh, that's
shoot.
fair.
He's trying to shoot webs.
I mean, Spider-Man is on his affiliation team, so if anyone will teach him.
All right. So anyway, let's talk about the card. Stop BSing. Size is medium. No, size 2, which is he's a big model for
Average.
size 2.
So, as a quick reminder, since we do have a slight Marvel
do have-
Crisis Protocol neophyte with us,
That is
and
true.
in case it is a reminder, each model has a size in terms of how big and chonky that person is. It is completely unassociated with base size.
That's true.
So, unlike a game with War Machine and Hordes, base size is not determined at all by what kind of model you are. It is a unique thing for pretty much everybody. That is
It's
typically
actual
people,
size.
yeah, people like of similar stocks, like the core set with like the Avengers, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Black Widow, all had a really like a standard human small base size, and
Yeah.
then like Hulk and a few other models. Basically, the bigger and more impressive the model, the larger the base size,
His
and
cloak
that
is causing the big base.
and not those rings.
The rings can go away. Um,
So,
So-
like my expectation is Wong is going to be on the normal human base size.
Yep.
And that image, and then Doctor Strange is his bigger base. And size 2 in this case just means he can be thrown by people who can throw size 2 things, like
Dude,
everyone.
I really
Like-
wish he had an ability that was. We'll get to that, but I wish he had the ability like the levitation cloak, where like you throw him and he just moves short and then stops.
I mean, he has flight. What more do you want?
Everything.
Can you
Um,
really? Doesn't the cloak have its own personality that can beat you up just as good as he can?
Not only in the MCU.
Yeah, that's represented by a power he has on here called Nunya.
Nunya?
Nunya business.
None of your business. So he's also 6 health, because I'm gonna railroad this back onto the normal conversation. So yeah, 6 health, moves medium, which is kind of surprising. I actually thought he'd move short, or like he'd have something to do where he can move himself again.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose you're right, but I mean, we're going to get into it a little bit. He's a fairly range-heavy piece.
Yeah.
And he's going to be he has like a bubble of influence around him. Putting that on a long movement would have given him too much flexibility. Putting it on
yeah.
a short movement would have made his gameplay feel bad. Medium movement is pretty much what I expected. And it's solid. It's the average movement speed.
So how's his defenses look?
His defenses
Defensible.
are 3 physical, 4 energy, 4 magical, 4 mystical. Perfectly solid defenses.
Yeah.
We've talked about our theory of threat costs here before. So at 5 threat, his peers are going to be Ebony Maw, Thor, and I think MODOK. And that's the only other 5 threat models currently.
Yeah, it's the they changed the control of the board, but they're not overwhelming like Hulk.
Yeah, they don't like warp the game around themselves like Hulk, where you have to have a way to deal with Hulk. You can't really afford to let him run over you. And Thanos, who is Haley too, and will just utterly destroy you if you ignore him.
We don't say the name. Don't say.
I'm choosing that hill to die on. I played as Thanos once, and
It's
halfway
like
through that
saying
game, I'm
It's
just
like-
like, oh my god, it's Haley.
It's War Machine. It's new War Machine. It doesn't have any hills. You can't die on him. So, he has the what is his first attack?
Is there a particular person you want to handle it?
You.
Is it
I
called
want-
bolts of-
I actually I want to hear both of you say how do you say this term.
If you're gonna be saying Doctor Strange attacks,
Bedevilment?
one more time.
Bedevilment?
All right. The bolts of Beldevirs. No, the bolts of bedevilment.
Bedevilment.
It is a range. I know. It is a range 4 attack, which is not the longest range, but a good sight longer than most attacks. So it's a solidly decent long range attack. 5 dice, which is a very solid 0 cost attack. I think the highest, the 0 cost attack of the game is 6 dice, and the lowest is 4. So again, Doctor Strange is coming in right at the average line for pretty
Yep.
much all of his primary stats.
It's
After this
basically a
attack is
normal.
resolved, yeah, he's basically a dude with a cape. After this attack is
magic ring.
resolved, he gains power equal to the damage he dealt, which is a pretty standard ability on zero-cost attacks. Not
Yep.
guaranteed, but especially since Doctor Strange is one of the more energy-hungry characters I think we've seen yet, which is saying something. Like, he wants power. So being able to generate it off his basic attack is almost a must. Even better, if his attack deals damage, after it's dissolved, he can push the target character short. So a range 4 guaranteed push, if it hits, is fantastic. If it hits, it does damage. It is still not as good as Shuri. Shuri still has the best push in this game because she gets to push you just for targeting you, no matter what happens.
It's
She
still
doesn't
not.
have to actually hurt you.
It's still not a throw. It could have been better, but it is a basic attack, so I'm okay with the pushing short.
Yeah. It gives him board control while also potentially generating him energy to use for his other powers. It's
Right.
good.
Right.
It's absolutely, you would be perfectly justified using this attack twice for your 2 actions on an activation. His second attack is, Bolt of Bedevilment is an energy attack. Always a solid thing to have in range so you can dunk on Venom. I don't know why that's my go-to example, but it's consistently one of the best ways to deal with Venom, so I always mention it.
Actually,
Has Venom touched you in places?
oh yeah, no,
He has.
yeah. Venom can basically just go, you hit me, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do a normal attack against you, and then just basically reheal. So getting this push short might push Venom out of range or anything that has a counterattack. So yeah, that's
Look,
nice.
On Beer Protocol, we have a few hard and fast truths. Iron Man disappointed the crap out of us.
Iron Man
and
sucks.
We are always looking for ways to punish Venom for
Yes.
existing. Not for anything he's done to us in the game, but just because he exists.
Oh no, I use him all the time, and he's amazing. But when somebody else puts him on the field, I'm like, oh, that's cheating. You shouldn't do that.
Okay,
So
so
you're an Haley 2 player.
Yeah.
we've
Crimson
got another
Bands.
ability name.
Crimson Bands of Satorok, if I remember correctly.
Satorok sounds like it would also be a valid pronunciation. It's a mystical attack. Doctor Strange has got to have at least one. It is range 3, so like right smack in the middle of average ranges. Range 3 is like it's essentially it's melee with reach.
It's
Like
melee
the
with
shortest
reach.
range. The shortest range melee attack is range 2, so 3 is essentially having reach. 6 dice for the attack, and it costs 4 energy. 4 is not really cheap, so we'll see how often he can pull this off. But after it's resolved, no matter what happens, damage or not, the target character gains the Stagger special condition, which costs them one of their 2 actions.
That's awesome.
So having a guaranteed Stagger is pretty rare. Now, the Asgardian affiliation has a way to get around it, using their faction ability to shake a condition by paying a power, but almost every other affiliation is just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's really quite good. The Guardians have a little bit of counterplay as well, because I believe they have a tactics card that makes them immune to special conditions, which is actually going to be relevant for other reasons with Doctor Strange. Okay.
So let's talk about Mystic Binding. We'll get back to this one too.
For starters, Mystic Binding requires getting an exclamation point crit, a wild, and a regular
The
damage.
normal hit.
Now, this is the
That's
only.
really hard to do.
Yes.
It's yes.
Okay.
So one other character has an ability requiring multiple dice, which is Loki. He requires 2 wilds to trigger his best effect. James, not how often have you gotten it? Have you ever gotten it?
I have played Loki like maybe 5 times, and I think I've gotten it once. But the thing was, I didn't need it at the time.
Yep. So there's only the dice are d8s. There's only 1 exclamation point and 1 wild on each dice, and I think 2 regular attacks. So it's essentially like getting 3 6s on 3 6-sided dice, but slightly less likely.
Yeah, it's 2 normal hits. Actually, no, it's 1-1-1, isn't it, on the dice?
I think there's 2 sides that have a normal hit, so that's a 1 in 4 chance.
So-
on any given day.
Yeah, so you're still looking at like maybe I think somebody did the math on this, and you're getting like maybe like 23%. Like it's really, really low.
23% sounds really high.
I mean, that even might be high on throwing six
Isn't
dice.
it 1/8 times 1/8 times 1/4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's 1/8 times 1/8 times 1/4.
So it's 64 times 4.
go ahead, mathematician.
I'm not getting paid right now. Get the hell out of here.
That's fine. That's fine. He got us. He got us.
So
Anyway,
it is
what
a
actually
very very
happens if
very
you get the
low
Hail
chance. It's a very very low chance, and if you actually get the Hail Mary, instead of actually passing out a stagger condition, if the character does not already have an activated token, you just give it an activated token.
Which
Now-
completely removes their activation, which, like bonkers, that is one of the strongest abilities in the game we've seen so far, and it better be, because you're not going to see it very often.
Is this optional?
It doesn't say so on the card. In case you're
You
wondering,
may give it.
it's
you
a
may.
0.3. It's a 0.39% chance.
Is what?
Assuming
0.39.
So around 39%.
No. Point.
No.
Oh,
like
0.39. Oh
like a
god.
1%.
that might be too low.
That is way too low. There's no way.
Either way, let's not do math live. Only one of us is good at that.
I need a spreadsheet.
I'm trying to remember dice probabilities, and it might be additive and not multiplicative
So-
for getting the same side.
This is
A
good.
specific set of sides.
This is one of those powers. This is one of the effects that is great if it comes up. Don't bank on it.
Now he is throwing. He's throwing 6 dice, so he only needs 3 of those symbols on 6 dice. And if a tactics card or a team member ability can give him more dice on the attack, then he gets better chances of getting it. So it's
Yeah.
not impossible.
So if he takes away one of their actions and they have to use an action for stagger, that means the character can't do anything.
No.
That's
So
what Stagger does.
Yeah, so
Stagger says
Stagger-
they have to spend their first action to get rid of it.
yeah. So the special effect basically this extra effect basically says instead of just taking away one of their actions, you just take away everything from them. They've
Okay,
activated.
It's fun to make sure I understood without knowing the game.
Yep.
We'll get back to this. There's more math to this one, and it's weird, and yeah. So let's go to the affiliation defenders. It's not that cool. So affiliation defenders, Mystic Empowerment. Once per turn, when an allied character declares an attack before choosing a target, it may spend 1 power. If it does, you may choose whether this attack is physical, energy, or psychic. If this attack deals damage, the target character gains the Hex special condition. So much for this.
James, do you remember what Hex does?
I don't, but I don't care about the rest of the stuff. I just care about the fact that I can just change. For 1 power, I can change whatever the damage type is.
Can you
So,
choose
a fun-
himself?
What?
He can change it himself because he is an allied character
Yeah.
of himself.
And it doesn't have a range. It doesn't say within a long of him or within 5 of him. It is across the entire board.
Excuse me.
Amazing.
This is a fantastic affiliation ability because Hex is a status condition. Hex says that. So a fundamental part of the dice math in this game is when you roll a crit, the exclamation point as part of your first roll, your dice explode, and you get to add more dice. Hex says no. Crits no longer explode.
That sounds good.
Yes. I would say 50%. I still like the first part of this because it turns into you have somebody who's like throwing out like 6, 7 dice, 10 dice, and they're just like, oh yeah, that person is really weak to physical, and like he's got really good psychic, and I don't want to do that. You know what? I'm just gonna change it to physical for 1 power. So now instead of them rolling like 4 dice or 5 dice in defense, they're rolling like 2.
Also, it means we can have an entire team which just dunks on Venom.
I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure if I was true or not.
It's like, oh, MODOK MODOK's got a really good psychic defense. Let's hit him with physicals.
To be fair, there's like a minority of characters in this game that can do psychic damage or mystic damage in the first place. So MODOK's mystic defense was always going to be just like a neat.
You are inadvertently for 1 power robbing people of dice, and I am perfectly okay with that.
It does a bit more than that. So in addition to, again, Hex is really good. because in order to get rid of it, they have to either get dazed, which means that they've lost their health, and that's never.
Because they're flipping over anyway. So.
Or they have to spend an action. And taking away crits and exploding dice seems kind of small, but that actually puts a very solid cap on a lot of dice math that makes things a lot more predictable for your opponent if you can't
Killmonger.
crit. Because don't forget that applies on whatever they would roll, which includes defense.
Oh.
So it's not
now
just
it's
like
become better.
Yeah, hex and not being able to explode for any of your rolls. Like I think even like dodging thrown terrain, you still explode. Like that takes away a core dice mechanic. Granted, explosions are still only ever going to trigger on the first time. You'll never explode off of a reroll already, but that still is again just kind of putting that cap on your opponent's dice math on a very dice swingy game already. So it's strong.
That becomes strong.
As someone pointed out to me, it's not just defenses you should be looking at for why you would use this. Like in general, if you have power to spare and your opponent isn't hexed, spend this, hex them, force them to make bad decisions of trying to fix their dice math or lose an action.
Yeah.
But certain characters who have vibranium care about the type of attack. For example, Captain America and Black Panther have defensive abilities saying that when they're being attacked by a physical or energy attack, they can count blanks as their defense. If you change all your crap to mystical, you shut off those abilities entirely.
Yeah, that right there makes this indispensable. Because there's been so many times that I've been going up against Black Panther, and I'm just like, great. There's no, like Doc Ock can't do anything to you. Because like you count blanks, and he goes, "Cool, change one of your hits to one of your defenses to a blank," and it's just like that doesn't help me at all. But now, if like Doc Ock is like shooting people with his lasers as a mystic attack,
very shiny for you. This is a great team affiliation. I'm really excited to see this in play, especially since Defenders is such a big team. Like Defenders just has a huge number of people, so there's going to be a lot of list variety.
Yeah, I don't think
this is a really solid backbone ability.
I don't think I'm
attached to a lot of characters.
I don't think I'd actually. I'm looking at the list and not knowing what everything does. I think it's gonna be like another Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think it's going to be take other things in the list. I think it's just going to be like this is your like throw everyone on the table affiliation list.
Well, even with Doctor Strange though, we're already looking at 5 points for a model, which is more than any single Guardians character.
Yeah.
So I doubt they will go, and we already know Spider-Man's a 4-threat model. I'd expect Daredevil's probably going to be 3, maybe even 4 if he's got some really good abilities, but probably
2. sorry.
Punisher's there somewhere, and so far our ranged pointy blasty sticks, other than Rocket, have been 3.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
How many points is a list?
That
Depends.
can vary. So depending on the scenario that's picked, you could choose. In any given game, there are 2 scenarios happening based on the crisis cards, and each one has a point value. And then whoever won the roll to go first chooses the point value before lists get built. So right now, the lowest point game is 15.
No, I thought is there's 12 now.
Is there a 12 now?
I think there's a 12 now.
Don't
Don't quote me.
Extremely low.
I am pretty sure there's a 12 that came in somebody's card because everyone looked at it and went, "Ooh, what are you gonna do for 12?"
I love how you say "don't quote me" while recording yourself.
I'm so quoting you everywhere.
Okay, good.
The highest point value that I know of is 20.
Yeah.
So even
Okay,
if you're
5 could or could not be a lot.
So 5 is anywhere from 1/3 to 1/4 of your entire list.
Yeah.
So just to bring Strange, you're committing 1/3 to 1/4 of your list for this one guy.
But he's doing so much for your team.
I would say for that one ability, though, that sounds like it's totally worth 5 points if it's, 1/3 or 1/4.
Yeah.
because it's literally augmenting your entire team.
Yeah.
Now, my experience playing Wakanda, who also had a similar ability of pay 1 power, get a benefit, this is going to make defenders a little more power hungry. Because you're always thinking like, oh, 1 isn't that much, but it is before every attack, and you're going to be wanting to use it a lot. So it just kind of starts, because even if they're cost 0 attacks, which give them power back, you would have to pay beforehand, especially at the start of the game before you've taken any hits. Like if you want to do some long range attacks, you could wind up spending your small amount of power pretty quickly on this.
Well,
So it's
you can
going to
only
be a
do it
balancing
per
act.
turn anyway, so you can only spend 1 power.
Oh, that's a good catch. I didn't remember that. You can only do this for 1 attack, which
Yep.
means you're probably going to do it for that 1 attack. Okay, let's look at his other abilities.
His first power, Asters.
That's
Osh-
an O, my good man.
Go.
Oshtar.
Oshtur?
Oshatur's Refuge. We're going to put another syllable in there.
Sure.
This character or an allied character within 2 of this character, range 2, removes up to 3 damage. This superpower can be used only once per turn and it costs 3. So this is now our second healing superpower. Groot has been the only other one with a printed on his card healing power, and
Yep.
that was 2 power for 3 healing, but that only targeted himself. Doctor Strange is a medic, which already is putting him in a support category. Like 100%, I'm now fully expecting the rest of this card to be support oriented.
I don't. So
That
with
is
this,
a very limited range, though.
Yeah, with this, I don't see it. I don't see it being like a thing you're constantly doing, because it does cost 3. It's pretty heavy, and he's already wanting power. And healing 3 damage off of some characters means nothing. Now off of Hulk, say that's great, but
I love how you jump to the most extreme example.
most
characters
he
are
is
5 health.
So
this is a greater than 50% heal for a majority of the cast.
But this is also, how can I phrase this? You're not doing multiple heals, so you're not like you can. There's a card that does this for cheaper. Use the card. Use your power elsewhere. Say on doing the Crimson Bands.
Yeah, I almost kind of feel like Crimson Bands of Citarok, while having a really good dice effect, given the amount of other stuff Strange can do with that power, I kind of feel like that ability is a trap.
Yeah,
it's all about how you want to play him, though. If you want to play him more aggressively, or if the game's drawing to a close and you don't have very many models left, absolutely blast.
I was actually just about to say that, like, if you're getting close to the end of, or you need to score points on the objective, because this is an objective-based game, and you are doing the how many healthy characters do you have around, and there's somebody else coming towards you, heal a character. Get them a little extra buffer so they're not becoming dazed and not counting towards the objective. That's the only time I can really see this being done.
Yeah, heals are relatively rare in this game because up to this point, the only heal and ally effects have been on tactics cards, which are one-time use per game. So to have a reusable heal, it is expensive, so it's going to be somewhat limited when it can happen. But to have a reusable heal on a character, even with a limited range, potentially really good. It's going to you're going to have to play with it and see how often you can do it to see how much of an impact it is. But even if you use it twice over an entire game, like a lot of the sturdier characters, even Strange himself, have 6 health.
Yeah.
So adding an extra 6 health to your team can be a lot.
So the next one is the Shoggoth's Horny Wisdom.
There's no S there.
What? It's not
Your
Shoggoth's...
Lovecraftian brain has ruined you.
But it's not the Shoggoth's Horny Wisdom?
James, there's no N.
I totally see an S and an N in there.
Yeah. Maybe is your card wrong? Is it misprint?
Anyway, Shoggoth's Hoary Wisdom. It is a superpower that costs 2. It's reactive. When this character or an allied character within 3 of this character is targeted by an attack, you can use the superpower. Add 2 dice to the target character's defense roll. Solid.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now I'm assuming that that's going to be effective for some of the lower defense. I'm thinking that like Daredevil's going to have a very high physical defense, but this doesn't say what type of defense. So like if Daredevil has a low energy defense, and he's about to get hit by friggin' rockets shot from across the universe, adding 2 dice, always good. It gives you the chance of having more explosions.
If you have the power available, this is a solid ability. It is a limited range ability within 3. So again, melee reach, whereas his healing is within melee. So we're already seeing kind of the trend is of while his affiliation, his team ability has no range, Doctor Strange still wants to be near his allies. And he says he has longer range attacks himself. He doesn't need to get to melee himself. I think Strange is really solidly a second line
Yep.
character. He
He's
should not be on your front line.
Yep. Sit on the objective and just let him camp there.
Yep. He's got a long enough range attack that he can poke from the second row.
Uh,
And you can have someone rush up and engage on the front.
this is also another trap power. If you do not need the 2 extra dice, do not spend the 2 power to do this. You have it better for doing Crimson Bands.
Unless, because there's always a circumstance with this game,
Yes.
unless you have a character which can deal damage from a successful defense, like Gamora.
Good call. Good call.
Because if she uses her ability to get 5 dice for defense, and if she takes no damage, she'll deal automatic damage back to them. Doctor Strange could just be like, lol, we could fit so much defense dice in this baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call on that one.
You're still investing a lot of power for the team into that, but if it's potentially a gimmick, then it works out for you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to. You know what the worst thing is?
Huh?
I don't think we've covered 2 of his best abilities yet.
No, we haven't. This is why we have to talk about the Eye of Agamotto.
All right. Hey, James, you got that one. You got it right.
It's the biggest thing in like. All right, I love Doctor Strange. I stopped reading Doctor Strange when he decided to retire, and the crappy kid down in New Orleans became the new Sorcerer Supreme for a hot second. But yeah, no, the Eye of Agamotto is amazing. This character may modify and reroll skull dice results. This character may reroll all of its attacks or defense dice once per attack.
That is crazy good. So normally skull dice, once you roll them for any reason, they just go off to the side. You can't do anything about them. No ability can re-roll them or mess with them. This again lets him bend the rules of the fundamental dice mechanics.
Now, it is 2 separate portions of this. This character may modify and re-roll skull dice.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Then this character may re-roll all its dice or defense dice once per attack. So if you have something that says, you can change a dice siding or something like that from like a card or somebody else's effect, you can change a skull over. You can re-roll all your dice. This is a trap. Re-rolling all your
James,
defense dice.
Who hurt you?
So no.
Who surprised you?
I read somebody's breakdown of the using Crimson Bands and trying to get the Mystic Bindings, and they're kind of wrong. And I think they're kind of wrong.
You want to name some names? You want to drop some truth?
Absolutely not. So they were saying it's like this low percentage chance of actually getting all the stuff. But if you're using the Eye of Agamotto, you can re-roll all your dice, and it jumps up to like 60-some%. Not true, because it's statistics. You're just basically re-rolling your dice. You still have the same percentage chance of getting the Mystic Binding.
Not necessarily.
It's
I'm going to disagree.
See,
again, going back to my War Machine knowledge, which is simpler dice. War Machine general wisdom was, since you're rolling 2d6, if you had a re-roll,
I'm going to need rum for this.
Probably. If you had a re-roll, it did give you, over time, on average, a bump up in the expected number. So example, for 2 dice, let me finish this whole thought.
I know.
For 2 dice, average roll is 7. If it's 2 dice with a re-roll, average roll was usually considered to be around 8.5 or so. Simply because if you rolled below average, you could re-roll, and you would more likely hit that average. And if you rolled above average, great. Then you just kept it.
Yeah.
So over time, by eliminating the lower rolls from your totals and keeping the average or better, your total average climbed. So that was why it worked with
But-
2d6.
Over time,
This is-
the same concept of flipping a coin 1,000 times versus 2.
Exactly. It's like playing the lottery. You have a 1 in 5 billion chance of winning. If you buy 2 tickets, it doesn't drop in half. You have a 1 in 5 billion chance of winning. Plus, you're not re-rolling just the misses. You're re-rolling everything, which means, yeah, you may roll crappy and you re-roll again. You might get some more stuff, but you're still having the same target. It is still the same number of dice and the same target on your re-roll. So the odds don't change.
Rerolling individuals changes your dice math.
Yeah.
Rerolling whole new sets doesn't.
Right.
Now, what I'll point out is kind of funny. Criticals and the explosions from them will only trigger on the first time you roll dice, not on rerolls. But if you reroll all the dice, you also get to reroll the exploded dice if they weren't what you wanted. So
Yes.
say you roll your 6 dice for an attack, and 2 of them are crits, and you add 2 more dice. Now you have 8 total, but you rolled blanks on the new ones. Aw, shucks. Doctor Strange says I get to re-roll them all, which now means I have 8 dice to roll instead of the 6 I started with.
That
Because you got to
changes.
keep those explosions.
Yes, and that
That
changes the
changes
dice math. That changes the dice math, but you're not working off of. You're still hitting the same goal. It's just that
Yeah.
you've now added more dice to get to said goal. It doesn't change the percentages. It's still the same amount. So don't think that you're going to because you can re-roll all your dice doesn't mean you have a higher chance of getting Mystic Binding.
Crisis Protocol is an extremely dice swingy game. Like this is something both Josh Drennan and I were remarking a couple of our plays during quarantine. It is surprisingly dice spiky for someone coming from like War Machine or other war games. Like this is much more a beer and pretzels game. Don't get too. This is advice to me as someone who tilts like nothing else.
What? You?
I drown in salt. I will drown in my own salt and tears if these pieces don't do what I expect them to do. And Doctor Strange, bless his arcane little heart, is
No.
gonna help me even out the trend by letting me re-roll my shit.
So what you're
Yes.
saying is if when I play this game, I need to treat this like Rumble Slam?
Oh yeah.
Treat Rumble
You should,
Slam?
you should be treating most games like Rumble Slam.
I don't know how to do that.
You're
true.
not allowed to play as Strange. No. Mm-mm. Because
Uh,
I can see
stop
models
it.
being tossed across the table right now.
James, I had Black Dwarf with a 13 dice attack, and
Yeah.
I rolled 3 successes.
Yeah. Welcome to math.
So
Look,
bad.
he's tilting
No,
now.
I'm over it. I'm over it.
All right, so we have
no,
more shit to
so-
go through.
We do. Real quick though, I'll just point out this is kind of the difference between 3 and 5 point models. Star-Lord has a similar ability by default, which says if he rolled no basic successes, he can re-roll his entire attack, and if he rolled no basic defense, he can roll his entire defense attack. Star-Lord is 3 points. Doctor Strange is 5 points and say, screw your preconditions. I'm a doctor.
I'm a real
I'll
doctor.
roll it if I damn well want to.
All right, so Shield of the Seraphim.
Whenever this character rolls dice, after the effect is resolved, it gains 1 power if it rolled at least 1 defense.
So it doesn't matter
This
if it's attack or defense dice. If you just rolled a shield, you get a power.
James,
What's the
If
dice
Doc-
math for that, sir?
there's 1 shield,
One shield.
not an 8-sided die. So dice math says, yeah, you'll probably be picking up trace. Like this is actually super important for Doctor Strange
Yeah.
because he is so. This is his last ability that we've seen all the abilities that cost power. He has a defense boost, he has a heal, and he has a solid attack, plus his team affiliation to change the types of his attacks. He's got lots of things to spend power on. He
Really
needs
is
this.
Too, isn't he?
Yeah, he needs this trickle. He needs that's why standing still and shooting twice may not be a bad idea, or even getting attacked is not awful for Doctor Strange because it gives him the chance to get more power.
Plus, you gotta remember, he wants all this power, but most of the cards also say you have to spend power.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gonna eat up every single drop of power he has.
Yep. So having the slow trickle of income coming in, fantastic. It's a great ability. I think it also triggers if you're rolling dice for objectives.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
if
Anytime he
Strange
rolls dice.
if Strange runs up and like does the thing with an objective, oh no, I didn't get the symbol I needed. But cool, a shield.
Hey,
Refund.
extra power. So he's got flight. Yay.
That's
And he
good
can
for his
have
big base.
soul and time gem.
Oh, I
Yo,
didn't see the comma. I was about to ask
Sorry.
if soul times anything like hammer time.
So soul
welcome
or
to Soul
time.
Time.
He can have the soul or time gem.
Soul, I think, would be a really strong pick for
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
I
As
don't
a
see
reminder,
time being.
other than being in theme, you jerk. So the Soul Gem says that enemies within, I think 3 or 4, I want to say 4, whenever they use a superpower of either a reactive or an active superpower, so like not a passive, then the holder of the Soul Gem gets a power.
Yep.
So it doesn't cost him anything other than the additional threat, and it again gives Doctor Strange another source of power to start trickling in power to use his own abilities.
So
And then Time Gem could be potentially really good. Like
making
if
him
you really want to go all in on the Bands of Sidorak and just
Oh.
take actions, Time Gem letting you have a third attack.
I
Maybe.
mean, I'm thinking just turning him in like if he has time gem, just turning him into a machine gun and just doing bolts.
Yep.
Throwing out like three 5 dice in a turn. That is, I mean, you get 2 attacks. You spend your power to get the next. You get a third attack, and then you do
And-
Crimson Bands
and pushes.
and pushes. You can bounce somebody around like crazy.
That also sounds like a good opportunity to trickle in your power too.
Yeah.
Because
But-
you get power off
But
your
once
shot,
again,
power off
it's-
your shields, power off your everything. So
that's a problem because you're also pulling in the another gem, which is another spot, and his roster is already pretty large. So yeah,
Having Infinity Gems in your roster with like the Black Order, which only has Thanos and the other models, that's a little bit easier because there's only 5 models in the entire affiliation. So if you want to play Black Order, you can use the gems to give you more variety.
Yeah.
Defenders is going to have like 8 or 9 models. So giving up slots in your roster, because in each, for like a tournament list, you're allowed to have 10 total models. And then each game, you make a list based on how many points you have and what you want to bring. The Infinity Gems take up one of those 10 model slots.
okay.
So looking at his wounded side, everything's staying the same. Because of Thanos, we're gonna go look at everything. So
Thanos betrayed us more than once.
So it does look like everything's the same.
So isn't there supposed to be like a benefit, like it changed when you flip?
Not always. Some
Yeah.
characters change for the worse. Like MODOK's a lot easier to kill again after he flips once. Some characters get stronger. Captain America, once he's bloodied, gets a lot more tanky.
Yeah.
But the average is check just in case, but most characters aren't any different.
Thanos is the big one because he goes from I'm helping everyone out to screw you, just kill him.
So like Thanos' the Black Order affiliation ability actually changes depending on what side Thanos is on. Is what caught us off guard because he's the only one where that's the case.
Yeah. We briefly looked at it and was like, yeah, everything's still there. Because sometimes, like when they get wounded, they get extra power or they lose a power.
Health, stamina.
They'll lose like a health or stamina, or the defenses will change. But Thanos card like completely threw us, like entire sections just changed.
There were like usually 2 different lines.
Yeah, and usually they highlight it in a bold text. Atomic Max the games will highlight in a bold text to say like this is what changed on the back. So it was so much they'd do that. But yeah, I'm digging Strange.
So Doctor Strange looks like he's going to be a ton of fun to build lists around. Because again, it's kind of interesting. Like I still enjoyed seeing Guardians. Like sometimes it's fun to try to guess how an affiliation will play once you see the leader. Because the assumption is you're going to be taking the leader pretty often in order to use the team affiliation ability. So you kind of want to get a sense of what are you going to build around that piece. Now we can't always do that because sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Thanos was the last person revealed from Black Order,
Yep.
so we already knew what Black Order did. So it was more just to see how Thanos fit in. Strange is, like I said, I think he's a midfield support. He's got attacks that'll poke out and manipulate the battle state without having to get too close. I think if you bring Soul Gem on Strange, you're going to be moving Strange up a little further. But yeah, I would say having Strange within 3 of most of your team is probably a good idea. And you may on your turn have him move within 2 to heal them and then blast.
I think the looking at who else is in the defenders list, I think it's gonna be a very heavy melee focused list.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's the only one that's got somewhat of a range, but you're looking at like Luke
Punisher?
Cage. Punisher's the other range, but you got Luke Cage, you've got Daredevil, you've got Ghost Rider, you've got
I guarantee you Ghost Rider has a range 3 attack with those chains.
Oh, what's her name?
Fire.
God, what is her
also-
name? Valkyrie.
Is Valkyrie in that list, or was it Angela?
I think it was Valkyrie.
Because I think Angela's there. It's one of the reasons why they were revealed together.
All right, well, I'll have to look it up.
Although I have heard people say they actually like Valkyrie with Doctor Strange, specifically because Valkyrie only has physical attacks. Now Valkyrie's good, but against other like physical defenders, her strength doesn't help as much. Whereas with Strange, now you can convert her attacks to energy or Mystic, which helps her bypass a lot of defenses and fix her biggest problem.
Yeah.
Granted, will she be good enough to bring in an out of affiliation beat stick as opposed to some of the beat sticks that are definitely going to exist in affiliation with, Luke Cage?
Yep.
Yeah, Luke Cage will be melee. Luke Cage will be melee. He'll have throws.
He'll have your tank. He'll be your tank. I think he's going to be the first person that's going to have invulnerability too.
Maybe. I am kind of curious because I like Strange being the main defender we've seen so far because this is absolutely a piece you can build a list around. With the support elements, he doesn't seem to be driving towards any particular gameplay type. He doesn't really tell us a whole lot where the rest of the list is going to go. I am going to be curious because I kind of doubt we're going to see the same archetypes again. Like Luke Cage could be really similar to Drax. For me, with just my comic knowledge and show knowledge sitting here without like the game mechanics they're working with, I kind of have a hard time, other than being tankier, seeing what Luke Cage is going to do that Drax isn't, because Drax has melee attacks that hit hard. He has throws and super strength to chuck stuff around the table, and he comes in at 3 points. So I'll be really curious to see. It might just be something as simple as a trade-off of losing like some of the offensive power that Drax brings for the defensive power that Luke Cage's powers give. And that could be the main distinguisher.
Yeah.
Because I'd expect Luke Cage to have a throw.
Oh, he's definitely gonna have a throw. I think his hit is gonna have a throw. But it's speculation. We can speculate differently at a different time.
Defenders are going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. I love Strange, so we're definitely gonna be playing this.
Okay.
All right.
Any final thoughts, team?
Nope. I have no clue what we were talking about, so we're good.
we will teach you this game. Do not worry.
Cheers. Whoa, that was closer than I thought it would be. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Clink.
All right. So game off. As you're all both drinking.
Yeah.
Game off.
Take us away, fearless leader. Game off.